Did you like the look of the Tapo C675D, but wish it was solar powered and just an outdoor camera? Enter the Tapo C645D. But did you wish it had 4K video and better Wi-Fi connectivity? Then you're in luck. Tapo now has the camera you've been looking for in the Tapo C675D. I will be going over everything from general specs to all that you can do in the applications to a battery of real-world testing. I'm Wanderer 001. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. Starting things off, Tapo did reach out to me and provide me with the C675D for the purposes of doing a review. However, they do not get a say into the content of this video. Starting things off with our general specifications, you are looking at a camera that is 6.31 inches long to the back of the mounting arm, which is permanently attached. It is 5.1 inches high from the top here of the, again, mounting arm to the bottom camera, and has a width, and that's going to be from side to side with the antennas of 4.02 inches. Now, this does look remarkably similar to the C645D. However, there are some improvements that Tapo has made. And we're going to start things off looking at the front of the camera. Up here at the top, we have our stationary camera. There is a microphone. There are two 850 nanometer IR lights. There are two LED lights and one very large PIR sensor, which I really appreciate because the swath that this can catch is very wide. I like that. If we come to the side here, it does have a certain level of adjustability, meaning I can tilt my PIR sensor, but also my lens down. Speaking of my lens, if we kind of look right there, you can see there is a lip around that lens. I really like that because that helps water cascade around it. As we talk about our lens on our stationary camera, you were looking at a 1/2.7 CMOS sensor, which has an image resolution of 3840 by 2160, 4K quality right there. It has a 169-degree field of view with 15 frames a second. It also supports 18 times digital zoom, so that will be pinch to zoom. As we come down to our PT camera, this also has the same 1/2.7 CMOS sensor with a video resolution of 3840 by 2160, that 4K. The field of view on this one, however, is 65 degrees. It supports the same 15 frames a second and 18 times digital pinch to zoom. However, because this is a pan tilt camera, you have extra range in that it has a 360-degree pan and a 128-degree tilt range. The PT camera also has two 850 nanometer IR lights, two white LED lights, but also has a pair, so one red and one blue, intruder light. If we come over here, we have a PIR sensor. This is different in the shape and size compared to the stationary camera. However, it does have a detection distance of 55 plus feet, while this one only has 42 feet. This one's a little tighter. There also is an LED status light as well as an ambient light sensor on the PT camera. If we come across to the side of our camera, either side, we have these adjustable Wi-Fi antennas, which is a good step up compared to the 2K version of this camera, because I did run into occasionally some dropped or poor reception with the built-in antennas on that other version. This one, they're on the exterior. I've had no issues whatsoever and have had good experiences with the range with them. The Wi-Fi that this supports is both the 2.4 gigahertz as well as the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi spectrum. So depending on your needs, longer range or faster speeds, you've got choices. If we flip things around and come to the back of our camera, in the middle, we have our speaker. To the left of that, we have a rubberized flap that is covering a reset and power button, as well as a micro SD card slot. This can support up to a 512 gigabyte micro SD card internally. However, that is not the only storage option you have. You also have access to the Tapo cloud service or Tapo's central hub as a localized storage within your home. Other side of the speaker, we have another rubber flap, and this houses our USB-C charge port. This is also where you're going to plug in the solar panel to, but we'll talk about that a little later. I did want to show you the very nice rubberized channels on both of these to help keep the weather out. As we come to the top, we can see our mounting arm. This is permanently affixed to the camera. So it's going to add a bit of bulk to it, but you can also see you can use the mounting arm to angle the camera so that one, your stationary camera can be facing one way and then your PT camera can face the other way, but you're not limited to just having it facing straight forward like that. You have several different ways that you can mount this, whether that's up top from the back. You could see there is a pull strap right there, but that does come separately if you want the full pull mount. And unlike the previous version, this part here is a little easier to disconnect, which I really appreciate. This is an outdoor camera, and as you might expect, it has an IP rating of 65. And what I will say is, because of the time of year I am testing this camera out, April showers are definitely happening. And I will tell you that this has held up very nicely to being rained on in all sorts of different ways. As I mentioned before, I like the lip around the stationary camera. I wish the bottom one had that lip as well. It's kind of flat. However, because you keep it angled, you generally don't end up with rain on it, which is okay. I haven't really had any issues with being able to see through either. Operating temperature is between -4 degrees and 133 degrees Fahrenheit, and charging temperature is between 32 degrees and 133 degrees Fahrenheit. That charge temperature is important to keep in mind because if you're using this in a very cold climate like I had this past winter, once you get below freezing, you're not going to actually be able to charge this off of the solar. One other thing, if you're looking for voice assistant support, you have access to Alexa, Google Assistant, Samsung SmartThings, and IFTTT. Powering this device is an internal 10,000 milliamp battery, which can, depending on usage, last 90 days without having an additional charge from solar. Speaking of solar, here we can see the included solar panel that comes with this camera. You're looking at 8.3 inches by 6.8 and then a depth of less than half an inch. This is a 4.5 watt solar panel, meaning with just an hour of direct sunlight, you can pretty much keep your camera topped off all day. And the fact that that camera has 2 lenses means it has 2 cameras, which means it has 2 videos. There's a lot of power draw from that camera that this is able to keep up with. One of the other things that I really like that Tapo does with a lot of their solar panels, this one included, is even in like ridiculously overcast, cloudy days, this still actually picked up enough solar energy to charge the camera, because I put this out right away without charging it inside, and it was very cloudy, but it still managed to go up by 3% in about 2 hours, which was really good to see. The solar panel has an L-shaped USB-C port that connects to the back of the camera, but it also comes with this 12-foot extension cable that again has the L-shaped USB-C. So you will have absolutely no problem putting this where you'll get solar compared to where you place your camera. I also want to point out that this is a very thick and large weather housing for that connector part for the solar panel. But the solar panel is not the only thing that you get with this camera. Let me show you what else comes with it. Right up top, we have our solar panel. Next, we have a L-shaped USB-C to C with a weather stripping bit on the end here. Long cable, lots of anchors, lots of screws. Notice separately, cable management zip tie, which is a nice touch. Tapo, I'm gonna say vinyl security sticker. This actually feels kind of nice. Little box. In there we have wall mount template sticker, another sticker for our solar panel, public notice, contact us, and quick start guide. Mounting arm for solar panel. Hidden under here is a USB-C to A charge cable. We have our camera. Now that you've seen everything that comes with the camera, this is a smart device, meaning there's going to be a setup process for this in order to actually use it. Let me show you what that was like. We're going to start by opening the Tapo app, come to the upper right-hand corner, hit the plus sign, add device. What are we looking for? This is an outdoor camera, and then it's got our list. So we can technically just search for it as such, so you don't have to go looking for it. Add. So we have to press and hold the power button for 3 seconds. We're going to grab this, and here is our power button on the back. 1, 2, 3, and there. It says camera on. We have it flashing red and green. We're going to hit next, and it's going to use Bluetooth. We're going to hold this up because every time I do this with PTZ camera moves around. So it is searching. Gonna let that do its thing. Looks like it found it. Now it's searching for Wi-Fi. Found the Wi-Fi. Hiding the password, which I appreciate, but next screen shows the password in plain text. We're gonna hit next on that and then bring it back into view.
Connecting to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi connected.
What do we want to call this? Well, I'm going to leave that as its name. And where is it going to be? This is mostly just for grouping purposes. And then we can pick a icon. And that is just my Alex A automatically grabbing it. So they do have a picture for it. So we're going to select that and we are ready to use. You have Tapo Care. Don't need to do that, but if you want to check it out, you can. I'm going to dismiss for now. Telling me to put an SD card in the back of it. So I'm going to say, got it. Check for firmware. I have a lot of Tapo devices that check for firmware, so I'm going to change the time for that so it's not interfering with all the other ones. And it's having us set up some specifics. Do we want to do dual tracking? We're going to say got it, tap to focus, got it. We're just leave all those on. And here you can see it's already looking at me. And then some things to avoid. It's going to make you swipe through and read all of them before it lets you hit next. Hit next again. You can see the camera's actually tracking me. Next. And here's our mounting instructions. Kind of, hey, don't do this, do this. Place it this way. Next. Fully power your device before putting it outside. And then when you have your Tapo solar panel, it's kind of telling you how you're going to do this. So do you want wall mount? Do you want eaves? Do you want pole mount? We're going to say wall. And it's going to walk us through the steps of this. Pluses and minuses. Don't do this. Next. And we're just skimming through this because you might be doing this a different way. We don't have to start the test because I know I'm good. In fact, it's going to show you the picture quality right there. We're going to next and finish. And if I come back to all my devices, there we go. It's listed there with about 43% battery. The hardware is only one portion of what you should be considering when looking at a smart camera. The other is its software, the application, things like smart AI detection of person, pet, and vehicle, as well as synchronized smart tracking and following movement of those smart AI detected things are all done in the application. But before we jump into that, I wanted to point out those AI detections are all free with Tapo, unlike some of the other camera manufacturers out there that might charge you for those particular services. With that out of the way, let's take a look at what we can do for this camera in the app. Here you can see on the page listed with all my other Tapo devices, you've got a quick privacy mode toggle, you've got the name, you've got its charging status or battery status, all that from just this at a glance widget. When we're ready, we click into it, open it up, give it a second to load because this is a battery powered camera. Up at the top, we have our name, our connectivity, our battery percent charge, our settings, which we'll get into a little later. Here, we have our PTZ view, and then our stationary locked-in view. If I tap on this, it brings up extra menus at the bottom. First being multi-camera view, so I could select other Tapo cameras and have them show up here and hit done. And now I've got other cameras in the view, and I'm just gonna tap that to go back to this one. There we go. To the right of that, we have our video display. Right now it's on 4K. You can set it to 720 or auto. To the right of that, we have our day-night mode. So right now it's on auto, meaning it'll pick the best based on ambient light. We have night mode, and then we have day mode. That would force it to stay in those modes. Notice we have PTZ and fixed. So you have the option to set that differently for each of the cameras. And then to the right of that, we have our full screen mode. If we select this, it's going to put it into full screen mode. Notice it does default to your stationary camera and move things around a little bit. If we wanted to swap them, there is a swap icon right there, and now that's my PTZ camera. And we can bring that back to a picture-in-picture mode. To zoom in on either, you can double tap, which will show you the focus. If I do that there, you can see litter that I missed, double tap, brings it back out. You can also do pinch to zoom, and you can see right there The stationary camera does 18 times zoom, so you can see the chain link fence, you can see the little grasses. Double tap pulls it all the way back out. And then our PTZ camera has similar. There is our 18 times digital zoom. We can kind of come over there to the corner. Now it is a little pixelated zooming in that much, but the fact that you can zoom in at all to that little bush like that is pretty impressive. There also is tap to focus. So if I do this, it will move the PTZ camera. And if I do it again, focus on this tree right here, puts a little box, has the camera focus in that general direction. So similarly over there, and we'll let that reset itself on its own, but it's a feature that you have access to. Coming down to our actual options, first being camera icon. Do that, it will take a picture of whatever it happens to see in frame, and it's going to do it for both of them. To the right of that is our record. This is going to take a video of whatever happens to be in frame at that time moving through, like that car. That car will show up in the video now, and I will stop that. Again, it's going to save 2 separate video files because it treats these as 2 separate cameras, which is a plus and a minus depending on your thoughts on that. To the right of our record, we have our camera's microphone. How sensitive do you want that to be? And to the right of that, we have our talk mode. You've got 2 different types of talk mode. This is our full duplex, so I can tap and this will turn on and I can hear what's going on out there. I can turn the speaker off right there, or I can mute the mic all on that side of the camera. And I can hang up and I'm no longer sending my voice to that camera in full duplex mode. Now I'm going to bring you back to here only because there is a option to the right of that. This is our pan tilt controls. So right from our full duplex talking, if I need to manually move the camera around, I have that option. Speaking of options, over here on the right, these are extra options. This is to set how many degrees your pan tilt camera moves when you press the button. Think of it as how fast your camera will move around. And we're just gonna turn that off and close out of this and come down here to our other options. First and foremost being push to talk. This you have to press and hold in order for the talk to actually happen. This is not full duplex. You have to press and hold. Similarly, we have our pan tilt controls, and just like before, we have our options for % degree for that to change, and birds that are going nuts out there. To the right of that, we have our pan tilt controls. Here you can see we can set up 4 unique zones, and then you would set a zone simply by moving the camera to where you want it. So hypothetically, if I want to see this little flower bed down here, I'd move it there, press the plus sign there, I can give it a name and hit save, and now that's a quick spot that I can toggle to. So I've got viewpoint 1 right there, it snaps up and looks at it, and then I've got viewpoint 2 right there. And for the next thing, we are going to set 1 more viewpoint just so we have 3 to work with, and that is going to be over here in my backyard, and we're gonna set that as viewpoint 3. There we go. And we're gonna come over to the next option, which is patrol mode. This is going to allow you to vertically patrol up and down. As you see, this is just a quick action. This is not a true patrol mode. It's just going to do this one time to kind of give you a look around. We have our pano. This will allow us to create a 360, 270, or 180 kind of look around. I'm going to do a 270 and create a pano. What this will do is quickly kind of look around. As you can see, it's setting itself up and getting ready to create the pano. It has to calibrate the camera position first, which is what it was doing. And now it is creating that pano. That pano is going to allow me to click on a specific area in a picture that it's going to generate, and I can then quickly go to it instead of having to create positions. And those are only 4 positions that I have access to. This is going to create that giant pano. Here you can see it's got 30% done. We'll come back once it's completed so I can show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Pano is done. We're going to save it. And now I can kind of come in here anywhere, and it's going to move this to that location. And I can take a picture and I can reset from here. That was all under our pan tilt controls. We have our alarm on and off. This is not actually to set off the alarm. This is only to arm the alarm. We have a quick toggle for privacy mode, turns both the cameras off, not allowing anything to be recorded or viewed as long as privacy mode is engaged. You can see it does take a minute to kind of pop off. We have the ability to switch to our single view, and notice right here, by default, it is selecting the PTZ, but we can swap between the 2 right there. or we can jump back to our dual view right there. We have light. I can turn that on and it's going to turn on both the lights. Notice there is a countdown timer in the upper right hand corner because this is a battery powered camera and you don't want to be eating through your battery by accidentally leaving the lights on. So that is a 5-minute timer. Not really seeing much here, but here's what it would actually look like in the dark with that going off. To the right of that, we have our tag. This is a motion tag. This is going to help lock onto things so that you can visually see them as they're moving through frame. It's going to put a box around somebody, vehicles, pets as they go through. There actually was an addition to this camera before I finished this video, and that's right here. This is AI zoom. If you toggle this on or off, what will happen is as something moves through frame, whether that be a person, a pet, or a vehicle, if you have it set up that way, the camera will digitally zoom in on the PT camera without you having to do anything. So this actually is a remarkable add that they did to this camera after the fact in the middle of my testing. To the right of that, we have our Tapo Care. Tapo Care is not necessary to actually utilize the Tapo camera, which I appreciate, but they give you a couple extra options now. They've changed the way this looks. So you've got cloud storage, monthly and yearly subscription, advanced, which gives you cloud storage and then extras here, and then the advanced AI, so that's cloud storage, and then all these extras right there. And then monthly and yearly costs if you're interested in that. Again, Tapo does not require you to have that. And scrolling down, this is the same as I've tested with other Tapo devices like this. It shrinks down the picture. I'm not a fan of that. Tapo, I really wish you'd re-engineer this in some way. But here we have our playbacks and downloads. And the reason I say I'm not liking that is because if I move my timeline to look at things, it shrinks that down. Now you are watching me as I'm testing the camera out. So this is a clip and the clip will download both video files as a separate file. In the upper right hand corner, we have the ability to go to our download. So here's all the information and things that I've downloaded so far. We can filter for photo, video, cloud video, lots of things here, and then apply, and that'll help us look through this. We also have the ability to, if I select that, I can select all, I can share, I can favorite, I can download, and I can delete. I can also do that on a 1-by-1 basis. Also in our playbacks and downloads area, 3 dots in the upper right hand corner allows us to see just the single view, and then selecting it again will allow me to go to the dual view. If you do have the single view, it doesn't shrink the video down as much, but you're getting this primarily for the dual view. We're gonna scoot this forward just a little bit because this is an option that you'll see a little later. This is the 24/7 recording. It's not actually doing 24/7, it's doing clips. It's currently taking a snapshot every 20 seconds. But we also have the timeline events and I can select it and we'll jump right to something. Notice that based on the event type, it changes the color. If I come back, there we go. There's a pet, so it's right there, it locks in, lets you know what it is. As you saw, I can jump to different points on a calendar. I can also select this and hit different calendar days like this. We have blue dots indicating that something has happened on that day. Keep in mind, because this is recording to 2 separate cameras, you are going to utilize your SD card a lot faster. Here we have our local storage or cloud storage, and if I tap here, just like we had during the live view, we've got a pause, we've got our volume on and off, take a snapshot, take a video recording of whatever's going on screen. Then we have our clip. This is one of the things that Tapo does that I really like, and that's the ability to, hey, this is a pretty long clip. Maybe I want to extend it, maybe I want to shrink it down. We have the ability to do that and then clip the size that we actually want. Now they do have a speed right here in the upper right hand corner. Might be a little hard to see. We can slow this down all the way to 1/16 or speed it up to 16 times. So if I go 4 times, you'll see me really kind of running around there if you have to kind of look through things very quickly. As we come down, here is a clip. To the right of that, we have some dots we can download. We can correct the event type or cancel. If we correct the event type, we could select which camera, hit confirm, and then, hey, this wasn't a person, and then we could say it was this or this, and that will help the AI get smarter. Coming back to our main page, that is everything that we can do for the camera controls. Let's move up to our settings. In the upper right hand corner here, we hit the sprocket icon, and that brings us into our settings. First and foremost, we have the device name and then device info. A lot of sensitive information in there, won't be showing you that. Just know you can go in there to check your firmware. Moving on, we have our detection. we have first, wake up sensitivity. How far or sensitive do you want this to be? Right now I have it on 9, and then notice you have it for the PTZ as well as the fixed lens. You can set it for each individually, and then you could do a test to see if it's working. Under that, we have auto tracking. You can turn auto tracking off, as you can see here, never auto track. Track all activities, or the one that I like, track specific activities. And if you track specific activities, you can tell it, just track people and pets. This camera is closer to a road, so I don't want it trying to follow vehicles. If I do track all, notice that option goes away. And if you go back to it, you have to reset what you like. Small gripe there, but nothing terrible. We have detection zones next. Right now I have catch-all for everything, but we could set individually for each. Notice right now I'm just looking for people and pet. I can select edit, and then for each motion zone, person, pet, vehicle, you can set it for both the PTZ and the fixed lens. If I want to add a zone, I can do so. I can delete a zone, I can clear all, and I can go into landscape mode, which will make it a little easier to set up. The fact that they give you this option for what you want to track and which camera makes this a very versatile setup. And then I could select edit if I want to, and this is for the detect everything. Coming back down, we have our detect motion types. Right now I have all motion turned off because I really don't care about everything, but I do have person, pet on and vehicle off. So what you need is what you get. Simply come in and select what you need. Here we have our alarm. Again, this is motion activated alarm. So you have alarm type. Do you want sound and light? Do you just want sound? Do you just want light? Sound type, you've got default. You could do custom. You've got siren, emergency, red alert, and then the volume. If you want a custom sound, you can add a sound simply by coming in here and creating a custom sound. Notice you have 15 seconds to create this. You don't really see a countdown timer. I wish they would really add that. It makes it a little easier as you watch the progression go around instead of just seeing a little timer there. You might not pay attention to it and know how much you have left, just like I am. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. You can play it, which will play it outside. You can record it again. You can give it a name, and then you could save it to the camera outside if that's what you want. If not, you've got your other options here. Moving down, we have our light type. You can do just the white light. You could do the red and blue light. I still think the red and blue light is kind of a gimmicky thing. For me, I'm not really going to use that as a deterrent. I'll stick with the white lights. Alarm duration, you have your default, or you could set it 5 seconds, 30 seconds, or you can do a custom, which is kind of anywhere in between. So if one of those doesn't work for you. Alarm event type, this is good. Do you want all motion? Definitely not. Do you want persons? Yes. Do you want pets or vehicles? I just care about person. Leave the pets alone, and I'm not tracking vehicles as it is. And then we have our alarm schedule. Do you want it all day? Do you want it during the day, which is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., during the night, which is 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., or a custom schedule where you could come in and adjust as needed? I want this all the time, every day. And that is our camera alarm. Moving down, we have our battery status. Selecting this, you could see your battery percent level. So it's going to show your battery status, show the battery percentage. Working mode, currently I have it on balance, but you could do high performance, which means forget the battery, we're going all in. You have power saving mode, which will limit some of the things that it does based on saving the battery. Or you've got custom, so you can set up your custom mode. What do you want it to do? Retrigger time, buffers, clip length, things of that nature. You've got lots of options. You also have auto power save, which will automatically put the camera into a power saving state once it's below 10%. I would recommend doing that. It's just a good thing to have. Solar charge data, we have that currently on. Auto privacy mode, not recommended because while the camera's charging, it will automatically go into privacy mode. If you're utilizing the solar panel, you don't want that to happen. Here we see our battery percentage over the last 7 days. Haven't had this 30 days yet, but you could kind of see as I'm charging things. Battery usage, I can click on that, lets you know how much has been used. Time in use, today it's been a lot because I've been out there testing the camera out. You've got your details, so usage, times, things of that nature. You've got your wake up, and you've got this one I really like. There were 161 triggers, but it only activated twice because those were filtered by AI. And similarly here, and then solar charge output. How much solar have you been using? There's a lot of data in there. I really appreciate that Tapo allows you to see that. Moving on, we have our 24/7 capture. Right now I have this on. It is recommended because it's just good to have. You could set your capture interval. One's probably too much. Sweet spot is probably 10 to 20 seconds, but you can go all the way up to 60 and as low as 1. You have your schedule. Well, right now I want it all the time, but if you only need this overnight or during the day, you can adjust that there. And then you can disable 24/7 snapshot if that's what you want. Coming down, we have our pan tilt. Right now, patrol mode is off, but we could turn that on. So if I enable patrol mode, I have to have at least 2 different markers. So we're going to say add marker 1, and then it will stay in this location for 1 hour. I can go all the way to 12 hours. So we're just going to leave it at 1, hit save, and then add marker 2, which is down here. There's marker 2. And how long do you want it to stay there? 1 to 12 hours, and hit save. This is not a true patrol mode. As you see, it will stay in a single location for a set amount of time before moving on to the next location. So it's a little different than actually patrolling. You have your pan tilt angle. You can, again, that's kind of your speed. And then you have your correction or your calibration right there. Moving on, we have our smart dual track. If turned on, if something is captured in the stationary camera, the PTZ camera will move over to it to keep an eye on it. And then you can select what type you want this to happen to. So I just have people and pets. And then we have our tracking range. You have continuous, so it'll just keep going, or you have a fixed. So once it gets to a certain point, it will just stop. In my case, I want it to keep going. And then our pan tilt correction, which again is our calibration. Moving on, we have our tap to focus. I did show you this earlier on where you select a specific location and then it will go to that area. We also have our pan tilt reset where we can turn that on. So after wake up, after each tap to focus action, the pan tilt camera will go back to where it was. We have our other location for Tapo Care to access Tapo Care. Then we have our storage and recording. I am currently doing my local storage. Here we can see my micro SD card. I can loop the recording, meaning as it gets to the end of the micro SD card, it will override older clips. You can turn that on and off. You have secure SD card if you want to. What this will do is it will encrypt the SD card where it can only be accessed on a device, requires a password, and even if it's on the device and viewed through the app on device, you have the password, you still need to have a password to access it. And down here we have our format SD card. We have our clip setting. So we can adjust our retrigger time, we can adjust our record buffer, and then maximum clip length, we can do as low as 20 or all the way up to 120 seconds. Because I'm on the balance mode, clips are only 20 seconds. We can set the trigger down to pretty much 0 seconds. Record schedule, if you need to have a schedule, you can do so here. In my case, I want it all the time. Record sound, this is on by default, but if you live in an area where you're not allowed to record sound, that's where you come to turn that off. Next, we have video and display. We have our night mode. Right now I have it set for infrared mode. We can set it for full color, which will utilize the LED lights. Notice again, we have PTZ and fixed to set this for. If we're going to do the infrared, we have the ability to set it to near, medium, and far for the IR intensity. Moving on, we have our video quality. We've got 4K, 720, or auto, which will switch between the two based on your connectivity. Moving on, we have privacy zone. You can enable a privacy zone, and we're gonna click in here. You could set one up for your fixed camera or your PTZ. We're gonna do this on the PTZ just as an example. Throw that there, hit save. Now, on the PTZ camera, that is going to be a blocked space. It will not record, I cannot view it. However, come all the way back and then go into our controls. Notice that is locked in digitally in the view, not to the location. So I really would not use privacy zones on your PTZ camera because you will end up with a black box that moves with the camera. Image settings, this will allow you to set color temperature. So original, cool, warm, soft. You can see slight changes in the temperature. Or we have our brightness. So we can lower this if the lighting is too much, or we can raise this to really brighten it up. The problem with this is not based on time of day. This is just how the camera is. So make sure you dial in what you want for a balance between day and night. Auto exposure. I personally prefer the way things look with this off, but if you turn this on, you can change the auto exposure for persons and pets. Detection tag, well, here you go. The box around a person. You can do a label, so it'll tell you if it's a person or a pet, if that's what you're looking for. On-screen display information, you've got display time and date, display text. So if I turn this on, I could say docking bay 3 and docking bay 42.5. So you can kind of tell where they are. And then display logo, that's going to be the Tapo logo. Underneath that, we have display tag on screen. This is going to show you your network speed and then live or not live. I like they give you a little preview. Moving on, we have our spotlight brightness. You've got an adjustability between 1 and 5. And then again, notice it is on both the cameras. So you could set it for the PTZ as well as the stationary, and both have a quick toggle to let you test it out and see if the brightness level is what you're looking for. Under that, we have LED status light. You could turn that on or off. You've got your Wi-Fi connectivity, another toggle for privacy mode. Moving on, notifications, on or off. What type do you want to get notified of? I don't care about motion or vehicles, so I just have it notify me for pets and people. There's a schedule. Do you want it always, during the day, during the night, or a custom, just like you had in that other location? And then rich notification, that is going to be, instead of just receiving something like a text saying, hey, I saw something, this will send you a snapshot of what it saw. However, you do need Tapo Care for that. Moving on, we have advanced settings. We have our power line frequency. By default, it's on auto, or you could do 50 or 60 hertz. This is to help with flickering that you would see in lighting. I would recommend just leaving it on auto. Voice call mode, standard or compatibility. If you turn it into compatibility mode, it's going to do everything it can, whether it's degrading everything else, to make sure that you get the voice call. Your video quality might look like garbage, but you'll still be able to get your call. You have your display setting, hardware acceleration or compatibility mode. Again, this is going to be degrade everything else and make the picture as good as it can be. Just leave those at default. It's normally going to be okay. Up here we have our diagnostics. You could turn this on or off. This is generally if you need to send information to Tapo about something that's happened with your device. Device sharing. Well, right now I'm not sharing it, but if I select the share button, I can say got it. And this will allow me to enter somebody's Tapo email to share this camera with them. Moving on, we have smart actions. This is going to allow you to set up if this then that type scenarios. So if the camera sees something, then turn this light on. They give you a couple of examples right here. You also have when you arrive home or leave. You have involved. I don't have any at the moment, but if I hit the plus sign, I can say we're going to set an automation, and then every time or custom time, when, add a trigger. In this case, device changes status, time of day, or arrives, leaves. So I can say device change status, find my camera. When the camera sees something, if clause, if you want, then turn on my Tapo LED lights so that I'll know, maybe I'm away from my phone, but my lights will turn on so I'll know somebody's around where they shouldn't be. Under that, we have user guide. We've got our welcome guide and our mounting guide. If you don't remember from when you set things up, we have our support center. This is going to give us all the information about this. I am doing this before the camera actually launches, so that's hidden at the moment. Just under that, we have our firmware. If we want to manually check for an update, when you set it up, it should automatically be doing that. We have reboot the camera and then remove the camera from your Tapo application. And that has been everything that we can do for the Tapo C675D in the Tapo app. Now that we've seen all the interesting things that we can do with this camera through the application, what's next? Well, for me, testing. I want to make sure that this camera lives up to what it's supposed to do. And for me, first and foremost, is going to be audio. I want to hear what it sounds like from the camera to the application, as well as from the application to the camera. Let's take a listen.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test.
Alarm test. One thing that you might not have considered with a pan tilt camera is motor rotation noise that you get from the camera standing next to it or in the video from the camera feed itself. Now, its predecessor, I will admit, there was a noticeable camera noise when I was moving it around. However, this one, not so much. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a listen.
This is audio test for if you hear any motor noise as it tracks me. Tracking looks pretty good. We're going to come up close here, get down, follow me down, come up, come back around, try to find me. It should be pretty good.
With audio out of the way, we move on to video. What I will say first and foremost, in the upper right hand corner of your screen, you're going to see a link to the raw video files from this camera as they will be downscaled to 1080 for this video. So you're not going to see that 4K video sample unless you go over there.
Yeah, this is recording things during the time. Moving around, walking in the camera. See how far it follows. Pretty good. Come up, give you a nice idea of how that looks. See if it tilts down to see me. Like that. Not so much. We're going this way. Yeah, this is recording things during the time. Moving around, walking in the camera. See how far it follows. Pretty good. Come up, give you a nice idea of how that looks. See if it tilts down to see me. Like that. Not so much. We're going this way. An example of car lights. You see what? This way, it's tracking me. Not the stuff on things in the dark. But there's also IR lights at their maximum. So it might blur me out a little bit as I get close. An example of car lights. You see what? This way, it's tracking me. Not the stuff on things in the dark. But there's also IR lights at their maximum. So it might blur me out a little bit as I get close. Alright, here's an example with the LEDs at number 5 setting. So they're super bright. So you might see it wash my face out a little bit as a plus. As it tracks me. You lower that up a little bit. Alright, here's an example with the LEDs at number 5 setting. So they're super bright. So you might see it wash my face out a little bit as a plus. As it tracks me. You lower that up a little bit.
There you saw 2 separate video feeds for each camera. I appreciate that type of view as opposed to stitching them together, as maybe I just want the video feed from this and don't necessarily want it from this. One thing you might not have considered is with a pan tilt camera that can AI track people, what happens if 2 people walk into frame? While I cannot show you a video sample of that because my assistant doesn't like to be on camera, what I will tell you is that the first person that the PT camera locks onto is going to be who it sticks with, regardless of if a person passes in front, behind, sideways, stops, and then continues. This locks onto that first person that comes into frame. Next test for me, detection speed. I want to know how quickly this will notify me of things that are happening. As I mentioned before, there are 2 PIR sensors. These are heat-based motion sensors, and they actually have a really decent range on them. Let me show you.
It should see me as I come around that bend, so we'll give it a chance and see how it goes right now. PIR sensor. That's pretty good. The fixed lens and the PTZ lens can see me. That was real quick for a battery-powered camera. All right, this is going to be trying to test the stationary camera. We're going to come at it from behind it, walk that way. It should be able to pick me up. We'll see how quickly it does it. And about here, it should see me. Ow. Yeah, fixed lens and then the PTZ snap to see me. That's pretty good. Both cameras are, that's a little slow on my take. About 2.5 seconds for both cameras. That's ridiculously good for a battery-powered camera.
There are a lot of things that I like about this camera, especially compared to its predecessor, which I really feel like they watched my video on it and made those changes that I was looking for with this camera. But that doesn't mean there aren't a few cons that I want to point out to you. First and foremost, I stick by the red and blue light. It's gimmicky. It doesn't serve a purpose for me. I'd rather they add extra lights down here so I can have it extra bright instead of trying to warn somebody off with red and blue flashing. That, to me, that's not going to deter anybody. The PTZ camera, when tracking people in particular, does not seem to pan down very quickly or very far if somebody gets too close to the camera. I do have some examples with pets where they're walking kind of underneath the camera and it tracks them pretty well. It just, for people, for whatever reason, did not seem to pan down far enough if somebody squatted, which is one test that I was trying out. The last con for me is the fact that this does not have a mounting kit like its predecessor did. Yes, I appreciate the 12-foot cord for the solar panel, but I also really like having an all-in-one. And that's just a personal preference for me. I like having mounting arm and solar panel built into the camera. It's just easier for me. If that's not a concern for you, then that's not really a con, but it's a data point that I wanted to bring to your attention just in case you were comparing this to its predecessor. With all that said, I like the two camera setup, and being able to monitor two places at once from one camera is something I have really come to appreciate as of late. Also, the 24/7 snapshot option is a great way to get a pseudo 24/7 recording from a battery-powered camera, and you might not have thought that was possible with something like this. So if you're in need of a camera that can monitor two locations at once and does not need to be plugged in to use and keeps its battery topped off using solar with 4K video, I can strongly recommend the Tapo C675D. If this sounds like the solar battery-powered dual pan tilt camera you have been looking for, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself in the description area below. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure if this is the right solar-powered pan tilt camera for you? On screen now, you'll see two other reviews that I have done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.